Kamilah Rose with the Bliss Institute, and I just wanted to come in, say hi. I haven't posted anything in a while, ever since we did the videos for spring equinox, so just wanted to come stop by really quick, especially as we have Saturn in Aquarius, and as we seeing this energy, it's really the energy of rebellion, of revolution, of change in big ways that we can anticipate going on for about the next 2 to 3 years. About 2024, things should shift completely. We have Saturn in Aquarius for a little bit of time. Around May is when the planets start to go into retrograde, and it's going to be a wild summer of retrograde. And then Saturn will be retrograding back into Capricorn. So we'll get more into that structural look and realigning our structures. But for right now, we're taking a look at the understanding Aquarius is a sign that is all about being unique, being yourself, following your truth. And it's also about what we bring to the table as far as what we have to offer and how we honor humanity as a whole. So this whole look of altruism, of giving, of sharing, of moving past the idea of individualism is going to be very important. It's going to be what sees us through these times. The more you see people pull back and kind of wanting to just focus more on themselves, or even tribalism, is going against the energy of Aquarius, and it will pull up these reactions that are very extreme and a bit rebellious. Like, people want to push back against that. And as we see more with this look at corporations and how they value people, how they value those who are the ones that bring them resources and that manage the resources and that make them profitable, we're going to see that our perspective of them, like, the shades have been lifted up. That's what Saturn does. The shades have been lifted up. We're taking an honest look at them, at how they may present themselves as if they care about us and care about their workers and all of these wonderful things. And when in reality, they're more concerned with their bottom line. And that's the truth of capitalism. It will be very interesting to see if capitalism survives this time right now. I'm not 100% sure if it will or if it will not. There will need to be a shift and a change in how we distribute and understand the value of our resources and the people who actually put in the work to make our resources accessible to us. So the people who right now, like, we're seeing as essential personnel, the ones who can still be out and about in the community and working, and how we do not pay nurses, we do not pay frontline staff folks in the grocery stores, in the restaurants, on the same level as we pay even folks who work in the service industry of servicing cars, of lawn care. We don't pay them at the same pay grade and rate as we do doctors and nurses, and yet these are the ones who are allowed to be at work, who are making our society continue to function. And so an assessment, Saturn loves an assessment of this, is being done and is being brought to light, and it's really making us sit back and say, we have to be able to value these individuals across all lines in the same way, because they allow for us to be able to function in our world. And overall, we're going to have to realign how we are in this world, our consumption, our way of communicating and connecting with the other, what we see as necessities and what are not necessities. We have reached really a point where many people were all about the gram, they were about the pictures. It was all a mass illusion, which is very Piscean in nature, which is interesting because Saturn will be moving into Pisces next, so it will be shattering illusions. But it was very much just like it was all about creating the look without it necessarily being based on tangible reality. So, as in, you and I could reach out and touch this, and that what we were seeing was actually what, if you were physically there and in that space and taking that sensory information, your body would interpret it the same. It wouldn't. It was with the help of technology to make this into a whole new world. And that is very true. We can very much so do that. And although these things are inspirational and aspirational, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a beautiful world and to have a beautiful view of yourself and others around you, but what are you doing in order to take that from something that you've created using technology into something that is intangible material reality? And can you do that in a way that is sustainable and that is kind to the planet that we live on? Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Sit down. You're fine. Sit down. Sit down, baby. And so this is just kind of some of the work of Saturn. Saturn and Capricorn, we have seen over the last few years. Oh my gosh, baby. Saturn and Capricorn has really taken a look at and really pulled back the curtain on our systems, as in particular, our political system. It has really kind of dragged that through the mud and been like, this is trash and you need to work on it. This is something that is not sustainable. This is not something that is working, and it is not going to, it's not going to make it. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to function in our world. So how do we, again, how do we shift from a Capricornian, which is looking at the overall big purpose and our big work, to Aquarian, which is looking at how do we value and honor society? The opposite sign of Aquarius is it Taurus? It can be Taurus. The opposite sign of Aquarius, I don't know why this is escaping me. I know the opposite sign of, oh my gosh, baby, I need you to chill out. I need you to chill out. Okay. I know the opposite sign of Aries is Libra, because that's me. And the opposite sign of Pisces would be Virgo. So the opposite sign of Aquarius would be whatever comes before Virgo, Leo. So the goal is always in the opposite sign. The medicine that we need to fix the ills is always in the opposite sign. And with Saturn being in Aquarius, it would show us where we were unbalanced, not only in how we value each other and value humanity and how we give back and support each other, but it would also show how we were imbalanced in our understanding of wanting to be a support system and being more concerned with how we are seen as opposed to how we actually are. And so the medicine that would come from the Leo side would be, Leo is a support system. A Leo will always want to be there for their group. They will want to do what's best for others, even though it makes it seem like they always just want to be in the spotlight. They're really wanting to make sure that everyone that's in their group is okay and taken care of, which means often that they do have to move into the spotlight in order to lead. So we need strong leadership that is going to be able to say, this is what will work best for everyone. That is a great way to look at what great things can come out of this. And then couple that with that energy of Uranus and Taurus, with our economical system being reestablished and being a bit of a revolution going on there, is going to be looking at, again, our values. Like, what do we see as mine? How do we see the material world? We do not value the things that actually make our world function in the same way as we do some other things. And so now we are going to be balancing that energy out, and we're going to be really making it so that we can make this function, and so that people understand that their talents, that's that energy of Taurus, that their talents, that the things that make them unique and beautiful and allow them to sit like their natural gifts that they give the world, are of inherent value. And from that, we will shift our economical system so that we are actually paying people for that, as opposed to paying people for being producers, paying people for making our economical system function. We will shift to looking at what is it that is your inherent talent, and then how do we support that economically. So there's some big shifts coming. One thing that you individually can tap into is to practice some wonderful self-care techniques, things that allow you to ground, to be in your body, because there will be a great drive to want to still, again, move outside of our bodies and to make this a very mental situation. Aquarius is an air sign, so this is it's a cognitive, intellectual change that is going on in how we look at what's happening. But we still need to be bodied and grounded in that, as well as I'm sure many of us know, that if an air sign is way too much into their head, then they lose sight of what's actually going on and how that will impact everyone. So we have to stay here. We have to be present in the here and the now, particularly as Aquarius can be a very future focused sign. So they're very concerned with how we are able to move forward and to be productive, which can make them disconnect from what actually is happening in the here and now. So to maintain a bit of presence in the present, even though it is very uncomfortable, even though it is very out of our control, and that of course feels uneasy and makes us want to do things like to focus on how am I able to, what can I focus on? Can I focus on making plans? A lot of people I've seen have wanted to, okay, well, when will this be over? They want to know when it's going to be over. So they want a clear timeline. Again, a control mechanism. That is a bit of that Saturn energy, is looking at that control mechanisms. When will this be over? What is actually happening? And the North Node is still in Cancer, the sign of the home. And so being stuck at home makes a lot of sense. North Node will retrograde back into Gemini, which will make us again start to take a look at how do we learn the lesson of Gemini, which is information and connection through each other and how we share information. And so we're going to get into a lot of that, like the fake news and the way that media is manipulating others, and how we decipher and discern what is true information and what is not. So we're going to get back into that, because we're going to find that after North Node retrogrades back into Gemini, that some of the information we've received, and there's a lot of questions about like what should I actually be doing, who can I actually trust, and that goes back to the creating a safe space of a home. And if we look at the earth as our home as a whole, how do we care for that space and how do we feel welcomed here? And then going back to, okay, well, how is it that I connect to that energy of the home and make sure that those are here with me? That, I'm always saying, I'm like, please be mindful of who you would actually want to be quarantined with. Do you actually, these folks that maybe you're talking to, that you're dating, that you're married to, all of these things, your family members that are always at your house that are getting on your nerves, like, sometimes you got to set some boundaries and kick these folks to the curb, because you don't want to actually be stuck with these people. And that brings to mind the bigger discussion of communication and expressing ourselves and holding our truth and saying, you know what, I really don't actually enjoy spending time with this person, so I don't know why I do it. That's a good space to be in, to reflect and to figure that out. But you might not have any time for that. You might not have the bandwidth for that, especially if you're dealing with an economic situation where you're like, I'm not even sure how we're going to get food. So we're getting to like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs has never been more prominent and more evident as the fact that we are on that literal bottom of the pyramid base, where it's like, do people have homes? People have to have a stable space where they feel secure. They need food, they need shelter, they need water, they need, well, in our society, some form of clothing, like these are the things that we need before we can even move anywhere else up this level of the pyramid. And for many folks, although we shift up and down, we're always moving through different levels, through the social, the emotional, we're moving through different levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And yet right now we have been plunged down to that very basic level. So we have to take a look at how do we care for each other at that very basic level of, do people have a shelter to live in? Do they have food to eat? Do they have water to drink that is clean and accessible? And in the US, this has been a conversation that has been very difficult to have because so many are in a space where the idea that you don't have those things, and that they are not secure, like that you will always know where you're able to go home at night and sleep, is just not a reality to them that they can fathom. Aquarius will break that down. And when we move into Saturn, into Pisces, that will tear down these illusions to an even greater level where we are going to be stuck. You're either going to try to, fully go out there and be like, you know what, I just can't deal with this. I'm going all of the maybe not so healthy coping mechanisms, or you're going to fully go into, we have to face the reality of what is going on and make a space where people feel safe to be spiritually and soulfully connected, and offer a space where people can live and thrive. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot coming. We have a huge retrograde season coming up this summer where, again, that whole analysis as far as partnerships will come into play because Venus is going into retrograde this summer. So right now, begin to make sure that you are valuing yourself and your talents and what you are here to provide, even if that is to just do your part in not going out and to flatten the curve, to decrease possible spread, and know that that is in and of itself a really valuable thing to contribute, and that we can honor each other in many different ways. And if someone in your life is not honoring what you are able to contribute in this time, it is really good to assess how it is that you relate to them and where it is you would like for them to be and their level of accessibility into your life. Here we go, y'all. It's getting real. So I will see y'all later. I'll be back, I'm sure. Bye. Have a good day.